In relation to the SUNY 2020 and the proposal to expand that going forward, has there been a change in the economic demographics of the student body at the various campuses? Are you seeing that there's been a diminution of those who are at different economic strata?
Do you want to say for community and then for comprehensive? Ann?
Sure. I can start first with the community colleges. What we're seeing is actually part of a national trend, which is that many of our students will go to work if they can find employment. And so with the recovery of the economy, we see some of our lower, especially lower income students, really foregoing education in order to go to work. And so I think across most of our institutions, we're seeing fewer low income students. We're also seeing fewer Pell Grant recipients simply because they've been able over the past couple of years to accumulate some financial resources, which does impact that. But otherwise, what we're really seeing is not a significant change in our demographics overall, except for honestly, we're seeing more underprepared students.
Robert or Kristen?
Yes, Assemblymember Glick. I'd just like to add that University of Albany, what we have observed is that we're probably running pretty constant in terms of the number of our students that are Pell recipients at about 40%. But what's interesting is that we have seen a very dramatic increase of the number of students that are first-generation students. Currently, it stands at about 40% of our students are first-generation. And our student of color numbers, underrepresented students, is going up on an annual basis. Currently, it stands at about 34, 35%. But with the last 3 entering classes, about 40% of those students have been students of color.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, how much capital needs actually do exist? Obviously, and how much could the system, across its many different campuses, how much could you spend in a year? Because there's obviously contracting requirements and so forth. So I'm just wondering, my estimate is that the capital needs are well underfunded in this budget, but by how much and how fast could you spend? Should we be able to write a blank check? What actually could you spend in the course of a year?
Bob Halen?
Hi, I'm Bob Halen, Vice Chancellor for Capital Facilities. When you look at SUNY in its entirety, as we look at it into components, and if I look at just the state-operated campuses alone, they make up about 60 million square feet. We're looking at a current backlog of needs of about $3 billion, $3.2 billion. In our capital budget request, we asked for $600 million a year over 5 years. We're looking at our state of decay, so to speak, or depreciation, at around that $600 million mark. And if we wanted to be more transformational with our investment in capital, we had asked for an additional $200 million per year for a total of $800 million per year. At our peak with the program, we had spent $1 billion, over $1 billion. So that speaks to our capacity. We think an $800 million investment is something that is achievable, and we have the people to do it. There's only so much work you can take on at any given campus, but across the board, there is tremendous needs and the ability to meet those needs.
Thank you. This jumps around a little, but the SUNY Hospitals have been, which are, in my opinion, very important to the regions in which they exist, have been cut rather dramatically over the last 5 years. They are cut once again by the $18.6 million that we added last year, and I'm wondering what kind of impact, not just adding, if we were to add the $18.6 million, that just brings you back to where you were. What is really the projected need in our ability to have you serve the regions in which the hospitals exist?
Eileen,
Yep.
introduce.
Yep. Hello, I'm Eileen McLaughlin, the CFO of SUNY System. Good day to everyone. All three of our hospitals actually operate at a slight operating loss even after state support. I don't know what that exact number is, but I will give it to you. The $18.6 million is just going to aggravate or increase that loss.
Okay, well, get back to us with some
Okay.
greater
Yes.
specificity about that. In this round of SUNY 2020, you've hired 919 professors, I believe. If there isn't an increase going forward, if you were no change in the funding from student tuition, what would be the impact on those new hires?
Well, we continue to grow. We've developed high-demand programs that meet the economic needs of the state. We don't always have the faculty in place to do that, so we hire new faculty to person these on-demand programs. So we'll slow down. We won't be able to meet the needs of the students. And I want to say, one of the absolute commitments we made when NYSUNY 2020 was passed is that every dollar would go to support student programming, access to faculty, access to student services, and I dare say that's why the Student Assembly is so supportive of this effort. So all of that falls by the by, and you know we've made this incredible pledge to graduate more students, to get more degree completers. All that capacity will be diminished. And there's one other thing I want to say at this point, which is I think a lot of people are looking at the way New York State has supported public higher education through NYSUNY and NYCUNY 2020. This is a concept as much as it is an investment. And it also speaks to the fact that tuition increases with a cap are less necessary when the state makes more investment.
The maintenance of effort that was baked into the original SUNY 2020 turned out to have some shortcomings. The legislature in both houses in near unanimous votes put forward a stronger, more vigorous maintenance of effort, which was vetoed by the governor with the message that it really needed to be discussed within the context of the budget. Do you have an estimate for SUNY what a broader, more robust, what would have been the advantage to SUNY had that legislation been passed? Or what do we need to be looking for in this budget relative to the maintenance of effort?
Well, I think the critical ask is around negotiated salaries, and Eileen could probably give you an exact number, but it's in the $70 million range.
$70 million for our collective bargaining, $134 million that we've absorbed so far, as well as about $8 to $9 million of utilities costs that goes up, or some of the fixed costs that our state-operated campuses absorb. And of course, the community colleges also absorb a lot of their fringe benefit costs and does not get that indirect support from the state.
Thank you. I'm almost out of time. We started last year a STEM scholarship program for a full ride for students who are in the top 10% of their high school classes. I don't know that it's well known around the state. We've done what we could to recommend to our colleagues to get it out there. Has there been, have you seen an increase in the number of students who are coming to SUNY as a result of this offering?
Kristen?
In our campus, we've seen dramatic growth in students studying biology, chemistry, and computer science.
This is also a campus that's put the A in STEM, so one of the things the president likes to talk about is STEAM, so that we don't overcorrect for the STEM fields without acknowledgement of the arts and humanities.